So a couple of months ago, James Bray, aka SpaceTimeBadass, made a video entitled My Beliefs, Past and Present, Religion, Spirituality, Lucid Dreaming, where he basically spoke about, as the title suggests, his various beliefs over the years, to do with religion, spirituality and lucid dreaming. Basically, I kind of wanted to make a similar video, not because I've run out of ideas or anything, but because I kind of wanted to talk about my own beliefs, I suppose. So I wasn't raised in a religious household, and to be honest, I don't even think I heard about God until I was like 4 or 5 years old. I mean, to be honest, I don't know what my family's religious status is. I don't know what they would consider themselves. But they never ever spoke about God. No one goes to church. Nobody has any sort of religious practice. I think my mum might be agnostic, but other than that, I don't know what each individual family member would consider themselves. But for the most part, I would say they are probably atheist or not a particularly strong believer. So I had no idea about God or religion or anything until I started primary school. And even though I didn't go to a religious school as such, we had to sing hymns during assembly, which at the time I really hated, but I kind of miss it now because there were some banging tunes. So obviously we learnt about the nativity as well. At Christmas we did the nativity play, so I kind of had this idea that God gave Mary a baby, she went and had it in a stable, it was Jesus, and the rest is history. So that was the understanding that I had of Christianity, I suppose, or of God. But something about it never really sat with me. I couldn't really get behind it. It didn't really make any sense to me, and I just didn't believe in it. I just thought it was a story, basically. And I guess for a little while, maybe I didn't exactly believe, but I was aware that I became more aware of the concepts of heaven and hell, and if you're good, you go to heaven; if you're bad, you go to hell. So there was that sort of fear did kind of follow me around a little bit. That I need to always be on my best behaviour and not do anything nasty or mean or horrible, otherwise down we go. But even then, I wouldn't say I ever truly believed in it. It was more just a bit of a fear, a bit of a feeling, but I never thought there was anything going on, in the sky. And I'm quite surprised, to be honest, that I never latched onto a religion, because, even from like a very, very, very young age, I was always searching for something more. I was always, sort of desperate to find proof of of magic, or of there being something more than us. So you would think that, when I discovered God and religion and Christianity, a very basic knowledge of it, but you'd think that I would kind of latch onto that and be like, oh yeah, so there is this almighty power, and there is more to life than what we kind of see. But even though I really wanted there to be more, that explanation of it never felt right for me. So I maybe kind of had a slightly agnostic period, like during childhood and early adolescence. And then once we got to high school, we had religious education where we kind of learned a little bit about Christianity, but I remember sort of learning a bit about Islam, about Hinduism, sort of more Eastern philosophies. And it probably would have been a very interesting subject, to be honest, but we only had 2 RE teachers, and they were both just not equipped to handle high school aged kids. We had one teacher who basically just stared at the wall and spoke to the wall, and he wasn't very lucid. And we had another RE teacher who, she was sort of, I don't know the correct way of saying this, but had quite a lot of physical deformities. I hope that's not offensive to say, but she kind of had a bit of a hunchback, and you know, hey, kids will be kids. You know, she was sort of relentlessly victimised for that, which is terrible, and I'm not in any way saying that she deserved it, because she didn't, but she was not equipped to handle that. And you know, there were many stories of her locking herself in the cupboard and getting drunk. So we didn't have good RE teachers, and I never learned anything in RE because of that. Then obviously you start to learn more about the Bible, and you start to learn more about how religion has been used to oppress and control people, and that didn't feel good at all. When you see how it's been used to justify slavery, how it's been used to oppress women, how it's been used to justify homophobia, transphobia, all those things, yeah, I definitely lost all kind of interest in going down a religious path, I suppose. And obviously that's, you know, that's more to do with people and how they interpret the Bible, and if you even think the Bible was written by God or if it was just written by people, you know, that's a whole different side to it, I suppose. But that definitely killed my interest in exploring that further. So kind of like mid-teens, definitely would have called myself an atheist. Didn't believe in anything really. Still wanted to find some sort of proof of there being a higher power, and not necessarily a god, but just something unknown, unseeable, you know, a kind of force working behind the scenes. Still very much kind of wanted to find that or believe in that. And I hadn't really ever like delved into spirituality. I guess for me, I didn't really have much knowledge on that, and I guess the image that I had of spirituality was kind of like, you know, Buddhist monks, you know, little fellows with shaved heads who know how to wear orange, or this sort of caricature of spirituality of these very spiritual new age sort of people who have these really kind of kooky ideas about things. So spirituality didn't come into things until sort of quite later on, after I'd learned about lucid dreaming. And when I got into lucid dreaming, I had absolutely no idea of any sort of spiritual applications of it. You know, for me, lucid dreaming was very, my kind of understanding of it and my beliefs around it, I suppose, were very science-based. Because for me, dreams were very science-based. They're just, you know, dreams. And so lucid dreaming obviously kind of fell into that as well. And then it was more so once I'd kind of been learning lucid dreaming a while and started, you know, joining forums and Facebook groups, that I realised that there was a massive spiritual aspect to it as well. And that kind of opened me up to spirituality as a whole. I kind of learned more about Buddhism, about Eastern philosophies, and just how people used lucid dreaming as a sort of spiritual tool, I guess, as a way of spiritual growth, of personal exploration, and things like that. Now, I kind of go back and forth a bit. Sometimes I do feel like a spiritual person, other times not so much. And I guess because it's quite a broad label, is spirituality. Obviously, there are many things that fall within that sort of bracket, and many different sort of paths and belief systems and so on. I guess for me, like at the very basic level, spirituality is just a way of kind of connecting to yourself, kind of connecting to the world, kind of, you know, chiseling away all of that sort of social conditioning that we've had for years and years, and just kind of getting back to like the most basic level of existence, really. But then there is a lot of bollocks, you know, there's definitely a lot of that. As with anything, you know, there's going to be a lot of scams, there's going to be a lot of slightly cultish ideas floating around, and I think it was hard in the beginning to kind of separate, like, you know, the sort of cultish, wanky, bollocky side of it. which I believe is the official term, and then the sort of not so bollocky side of it. And of course, I'm not trying to. I'm hoping I'm not offending anybody. You know, I just think that there's a lot of ideas that I think people try and sell and try and push. You know, I think there's a lot of people who are trying to make money off of these ideas, and it's all about the money. I'm not saying that, you know, if you're a spiritual person, maybe you teach meditation, maybe you offer some kind of healing for money. I'm not saying if you make money off it that you're a bad person, because hey, ultimately this is the world we live in. We need to make money, and if you have something you can give to people for a price, you know, I get it. But I do think there are people who are purposely solely in it for the money, and they don't actually believe the things that they're selling, but they know people will buy it and eat it up, and you know, that's what I'm talking about. So I definitely, when I kind of delve into that world, it was hard to separate like the good from the bad, I suppose. And I found that a lot of spiritual communities have the biggest egos, which is like the complete opposite of what it's all about. But that's a very different thing, and I'm not going to go into that. I've kind of spoken about that before. So I do, in some aspects, see myself as being spiritual, but maybe not on a massive scale. You know, it's my own version of things, I suppose. So where do I stand right now on beliefs? I'd still consider myself to be an atheist, in the sense that I don't believe there is a God, I suppose, or not a God in the way that most people think of God. So I don't believe in that. I'm still not sure if I believe in some sort of unseen force. You know, I kind of just think that we're here on this planet. There's ultimately no meaning to any of it. You kind of make your own meaning, I suppose. You know, you're born, you live, you die. I kind of think that's it. As for an afterlife, typically I think no. You know, like, life was going on millions and millions of years before I was here, and I don't remember any of that. So I kind of think when I die, it'll be the same sort of thing. Excuse me. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know how could I possibly know? There's a lot of stories out there. There's a lot of people have had all kinds of experiences that are unexplainable, and you know, I feel it would probably be quite arrogant of me to kind of just state objectively that there is absolutely nothing at all. I mean, I find it hard to, you know, like, figure out how there could be anything, but I don't know, and I have no control over it. Like, when I die, I die. I don't get to choose what happens next, and if there is nothing, then I'm dead and I don't know about it. And if there is something, then hey, nice little bonus, unless, you know, it's hell. But either way, I've got no control over it. I can sit here and I can sort of think about it for hours and hours and drive myself insane thinking about it, but I've achieved nothing, like, you know. But yeah, there's still a part of me that kind of wants there to be something. What that thing is, I don't really know, but for there to be something. And I guess, again, it's interesting to me, it's probably not interesting to you, but you know, as somebody who is very fantasy prone, somebody who has a lot of crazy experiences, you'd think that I would be really, like, into these sort of mystical ideas, and because, you know, I don't really know where I fall on the belief of my own experiences. Now, what I'm talking about here is the whole kind of voice hearing stuff. You know, I see things, I hear things, I go places in my mind. I obviously go a lot of places in my lucid dreams. I experience a lot of my mind on a very real level. And, you know, for a lot of people, they'll just say, that's mental illness, which it very well might be. and not like any, you know, I'm not going to another world, I'm not experiencing anything paranormal or supernatural or anything like that. A lot of people think that, a lot of people tell me that, which is okay, you know, fair enough. But yeah, you know, when you've had those experiences, it's very hard to not want to find an answer, I suppose. So yeah, I although I have no strict belief, and typically my beliefs kind of fall more towards the scientific, logical, rational side of things, you know, I still kind of have a little bit of belief in this section here. I don't know if that's just a comfort thing, because of course I would much rather I'd much rather these experiences to be real. I'd much rather that I was special, or you know, that we all have this ability to access some higher level, some higher realm, some higher dimension. I'd love for that to be true, but I can't believe in something just because it makes me comfortable. I'd rather be uncomfortable and unhappy but have the truth than not have the truth and be comfortable and happy. I don't know. That's just how I work. For me, I can't believe in an idea just because it makes me happy if I don't really believe in it. So that's that. So I guess so this leads me on to sort of my next point. You know, a lot of people with lucid dreaming believe that what they're experiencing isn't just a dream. You know, it is this very profound spiritual experience, and the places they go in their dreams are like a higher level of awareness. I mean, some people might consider that out of body or astral projection. You know, there's a lot of debate around that. Obviously, some people believe that lucid dreaming and astral projection are very separate things. Other people believe they're sort of the same, they're just other words for it. And I guess the thing is, you know, we'd like to believe that these experiences are happening outside of ourselves, because if they are just dreams, then they aren't important, they aren't significant, they don't hold any meaning. Because we live in a culture and a society where dreams are, you know, aren't regarded as having any kind of importance at all, and sort of talking about dreams to people, you know, people just don't care. So, you know, if you've had this really amazing, profound experience through a lucid dream, it's disheartening to think it was just a dream. But even if it is just a dream, and I've said this before, you know, it doesn't take away its importance. You know, ultimately, you know, you decide what's important to you, you decide what's meaningful to you. And maybe this is kind of the same thing I maybe have with voice hearing. Is these are very important experiences to me. The voices that I talk to are real to me, even if my mind has created them, even if they are from somewhere else, they're real to me. End of story. They talk to me, I have conversations with them, it's the same as me talking to a person, you know. But a lot of people look at that and just kind of go, oh, that's mental illness, that's crazy, these things aren't real, you shouldn't believe in them, you shouldn't interact with them. And so obviously, in that kind of situation, you want to believe that they are outside of you, because then it's more real, then it's more significant, it's more important. And I'd be lying if I said that it didn't sort of depress me a bit, I guess. But I've kind of stated a million times that I try my best to not hold any kind of belief around it, and I try my best to not let that get to me. So like, if it's all happening in my head, or if I'm some magical shamanistic being, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These are the experiences that I'm having. This is what I've learned from the experience. That's the important part of it. But I'd be lying if I said that I always felt that way. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want it to be more special, I guess. You know, sometimes I really do struggle with that. But I try my best to not focus on the actual belief, but just to focus on, you know, what I get out of it. So, did that get kind of heavy towards the end? I don't know. But that's kind of what I wanted to say, pretty much. Oh, and just very quickly, I guess I forgot to mention this. I guess the reason why I don't like to have a strict belief is because I know that if I get kind of unwell, that it would be very, very easy for me to get really stuck into a certain idea or a certain belief, and I don't think that's healthy for me. I don't think that's good for me. You know, I could potentially get very unwell, and I want to avoid that. So, you know, if I ever feel myself getting too engrossed in a certain idea or belief, regardless of what it is, I try to kind of take a step back as best I can, because, you know, there have been a lot of times where I've kind of explored an idea and got very into it, and just lost myself a little bit, and it could have gone very bad. So it's that thing, for my own health and my own safety, that I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole, I guess. So that's my reason for that. So, to conclude, I'm not religious. I would kind of call myself slightly spiritual, but maybe not on a massive level. I try not to have any sort of belief, because I think you can kind of close yourself off to things. You know, I don't want to be like one of those knobhead atheists who's just like very dismissive of everything, because there are a lot of things that we don't have answers to. There are people who've had loads of experiences that we aren't able to, you know, solidly conclude what's really happened. And I just think I'd be an absolute prick to tell people what they've experienced, you know. I'm just kind of floating around doing my own thing. I don't really have a philosophy on life, but, you know, I try and be nice to people. I try to be tolerant of everybody, apart from people who are intolerant. I guess I'm intolerant of the intolerant. You know, the only people who I really have a problem with are people who are sort of overtly racist, homophobic, transphobic, sexist, and so on. But other than that, you know, I kind of try and be nice to everybody, try and be accepting of everybody, try and realise that we're all very complex beings trying to navigate the world as best we can whilst we're here. So yeah, I mean, that's all I can say, I suppose. You know, you live your life, you make your own meaning. Don't be a dickhead. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. If you want to follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those other things, there will be links in the description. If you want, you can support me on Patreon. I really appreciate any sort of contribution there. It really does mean a lot to me. There's also a discount code for TheRaRaRabbit products, so go and check out TheRaRaRabbit, see if there's anything there that you like, and yeah, 20% off. Hey. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I have been Max, aka TheRaRaRabbit. See you in the next video.